Hello and welcome to Shadow Patch Notes, the series where we take the latest patch and discuss all of the hidden tweaks and changes that didn't quite make the spotlight. If you find this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe. And stick around until the end of the video to see how you can win a Saber Firebird game package with LTI. Alright, let's jump right in. The poop chute on the salvage deck of the Reclaimer elevator is finally fixed. You can toggle it open and closed using the open exterior button in the cockpit, and it will actually raise and lower. I don't think you can fit a 16 SCU crate out of here though. Engineering terminals were added to more ships. They all read out "coming soon" in preparation for the upcoming engineering gameplay in 4.0. The accompanying fuse boxes were also added into more ships now as well. For example, you can find these in the secret tunnels of the MSR. Other ships with fuse boxes include the Cutlass, Connie, Hercules, Carrack, Corsair, and many others. Fire extinguishers were also added into pretty much every ship with an interior now, even legacy ships like the Connie. Oh, and get this, the table on the Constellation is actually working now. No, for real this time. You can even toggle it while seated. The universe is healing. Hover trolleys are in and functional. You can find them deep inside your local distribution center. They fit 12 SCU of cargo, but move quite slow. It reminds me of the payload in Overwatch. You also have a little basket to store your guns or handheld boxes. I'm looking forward to the future raid missions using these. The clouds above Arccorp were updated to look more full with nicer lighting. The first thing you'll probably notice when logging in is the new character customization options, such as hair. You can now apply dreads that flow in the wind, or rock a fro if you'd like. They also added beard stubble, and some sick tattoos with age sliders. I really like this all-American eagle. You guys, after all these years, the noodle shop now sells actual noodles that you can eat.
Who wants some noodles?
This guy wants some noodles. It would seem that most of the ship changes mentioned in the last Shadow Patch Notes are now in, such as the size 3 turret upgrades on the Connies and the Freelancers, the Gladiator buff, as well as the huge Redeemer nerf. The Reclaimer was given an all-new size 4 shield. It's called the RS Barrier. It has significantly less HP than the 890 jump shield though, so try to swap it out if you can. Ship components received some major changes to how they affect your ship in this patch. For starters, upgrading to a better power plant will give you more bars for your power meters in your MFD. It doesn't seem that overheating is a thing at the moment though, so I'm not sure if different coolers really matter just yet. It appears the shield HP has been reduced across the board for all size 3 shield components. Shield values were also diversified for all shields. They have different HP pools and regen rates now. Arena Commander got a beautiful facelift this patch. The front end was upgraded and is a lot cleaner and easier to use. Right now, they applied this Halloween theme since it's October. They also added the hangar elevator animation to the front end, probably because they love to troll us. You can now do salvage and mining while in nav mode. A very welcome change for sure. You can also use remote ship tractor beams in nav mode. This is a huge change for the SRV in particular, because you can finally jump with a ship in tow again. CIG did another huge overhaul to quantum markers. Space stations and planets are clearly marked and easy to differentiate. On the surface of planets, cities are marked with a home plate again, and points of interest are upside down triangles. And they finally listened to our feedback on this one, because orbital markers are now clearly marked as a circle with a dot in the middle. This one makes me unreasonably happy. The Skybox is looking better now. It's now darker with more visible stars. Panels for components like radars and gravity generators can now be opened on many ships like the Vulture, albeit to empty slots for now. You will also now find an all-new customization slot in your vehicle loadout manager for a jump drive, a new component necessary to traverse through jump points. Here you can see the Excelsior drive. As you all know, MFDs were a main focus this patch, with the goal of streamlining many cockpits to have a more uniform experience. From what I can tell, any ship that had more than 4 MFDs have now been lowered down to 4. But that's okay, because now 4 is all you really need. Your ammo count is now located on the bottom of the self-status MFD. This took me some time to realize. You can change weapon groups on the fly by holding shift and using scroll wheel. This will cycle between gun groups, and eventually, all guns simultaneously. You can right-click to get a zoomed-in view for firing on targets or scanning. It can be kind of hard to tell if you are in cruise control, but you can tell by looking at these red dots on your velocity bar, at least for this Drake ship. Now here's a change I really didn't like. Ships will not be set to their max velocity when in nav mode. This means you will only be able to go about half your top speed at first. In order to change this, you will have to use left alt and scroll up to increase your speed limiter. This will be reset anytime you change modes too. Now there was a setting to avoid this up until now, by removing the speed limiter in the options menu, but this option has now been removed, at least in PTU, forcing you to manually do this every time you get into nav mode. Hopefully this gets resolved soon. Gone is the power triangle. Welcome the all-new power bars, a system similar to that seen in many other space games. You now share these with other things like life support too. That being said, you will want to upgrade your power plant now, as a better component will give you more power segments to distribute among your systems. You can toggle the HUD MFD cast on your helmet on the configuration screen, although I recommend leaving this on. If you ever have too many UI elements slowing down your FPS while flying, you can turn off the ship's radar component on your MFD to instantly make it all go away. Targeting a ship won't give you much info on it right away anymore, but a quick scan will instantly pull up all the info on them. One more MFD tip for you. If you don't already know, you can scroll down to the last option of your configuration MFD and activate Speed and G's indicator on your sensor HUD. This way you have more of a classic view with the speed and G-force right in front of you. The new items from the Citizen Con goodie packs are in, including the armored flight suit, the matching helmet, and the all-new P8AR rifle. This blue Sitcon finish looks really nice, and the gun has a decent punch for a DMR. Quantum Fuel received a price balance change, so it should cost a much larger fee now. If only Tony Z were here to deliver the dynamic simulation we were once promised. The Quantum Fuel system was also completely rebalanced and standardized. I'll leave those details on screen here. Fuel tanks were adjusted too. It appears they added an extra 2 zeros to the hydrogen capacity of every ship, and an extra 3 zeros to the quantum fuel of each ship. For example, the Cutlass went from 360,000 fuel to 36 mil. There appears to be significantly more NPCs around landing zones. The NPCs also have a bunch of new dialogue and can be heard having conversations with one another at the local bars.
I'll be with you in a minute.
It really helps add to the immersion, but I'm curious to see if this lasts more than a week in the live build.
Everything going all right?
Paints on the Saber Firebird are fixed, so you can go ahead and apply those now. You can zoom in and out of the radar in your cockpit. There is a new animation for deselecting a target. The hologram breaks apart in a cool little animation. The Vanguard got a chunky nerf with 324.2. Its health was dropped by 13,000 points, down to 37,800. Just keep in mind, the hull HP stat will likely be less relevant in the near future with the introduction of engineering gameplay. And yes, the Corsair did receive its dreaded pilot DPS nerf. The lower two size 5 guns are now on a co-pilot turret and not usable by the pilot. But there is a silver lining. It would appear that the whiskey flask is back on the Corsair. It spawns on a box near the co-pilot seat in a dark spot. Perfect for dealing with post-nerf depression. The MSR door delay is fixed this patch. The doors now open quickly like they do on a C2. This, plus the buff to the size 3 shield, make this a pretty good patch for the MSR. Check out this big eyesore in the engineering room. Zeus owners, your ship is finally in. I'm loving this retractable tractor beam on the CL. The Vulture can now craft fuses. It takes a little RMC and construction materials to do so. I can see this coming in handy in the future when we can live more off the grid. The Carrack's cartography table works in 324.2. Locations rotate with the ship and will move around depending on your relative location. This has been working for a while now, but I never noticed. If you were wondering why this patch is such a massive download, there's a good reason for that. According to the CIG devs, 324.2 is actually running on the 4.0 codebase, minus any 4.0 features. This means that the patch is basically 4.0.-1, which explains the huge amount of small changes and the download size. When visiting a cave location, a new minimap will be available for you on your HUD. A more complete map will also appear on your Mobi. All the more reason to visit one of the new cave archetypes, such as the acidic and rock cave shown here. Take a look. The acid doesn't appear to hurt you at the moment. These caves have crawly bugs and potentially copions. Just be sure your parkour skills are on point, because if you miss a jump, you could be headed straight into a spike pit of death. Once again, investigation missions are a key method to finding these spots. If not, take a look at Verse Guide, link in the description. For vehicle weapons tuning, they reduced the damage of all cannons by 10%. They also lowered the ammo count and regen rate. The handheld tractor beam UI has been updated for the different modes, with new icons and displays. The traversal mode for moving around and freely moving items is on left mouse, and the detachment mode for attaching things to cargo grids is on right mouse. It seems we have on-foot weapon overheating. Energy weapons have a bar showing temperature when you ADS. Supposedly, if the bar is filled, the weapon stops firing. This probably only applies to the Demeco LMG though, since most energy weapons are not full auto. CIG went ahead and fixed all of the night vision scopes. You can now toggle them on and off by pressing shift while ADS'd. We had some other FPS changes with this patch as well. Many rifles got reduced recoil, such as the classic P4 AR. My favorite rifle, the Karna, got a load of changes. It's had its damage increased and the alt fire mode received some adjustments to make it quicker. The mag capacity was also increased from 30 to 35 shots. The recoil was adjusted to make it feel more like an AK-47. The Custodian SMG received a slight damage increase, and sniper rifles were adjusted to make one-hit kills on non-heavy targets more viable at longer distances. Mining ships received an updated UI for the mining mode. By the way, you now have to press Alt and left click to switch to collection mode in your mining ships. This took me way too long to figure out. I went ahead and checked, and it appears that the life support function currently does not do anything on your ship. I turned mine off and opened the doors on my ship and was still able to breathe. So I recommend turning this completely off to save some valuable power bars for now. The Argo Atlas is available in game stores now. We also got the Pulse, the Argo Tractor, the Saber Firebird, the F7C Mark II, and Nurser Rover in shops. Plus, Retaliator modules were added to the Omega Pro shop, and Platinum Bays. The Store-All SCU containers now have specific branding. It'll be easier to differentiate it from normal cargo. Abandoning cargo missions will no longer result in a reputation loss. Something good to keep in mind. Now, there were a couple of secrets from last patch that even I didn't catch until after release. So let's talk about those now. Again, these are from 324.1. NPCs are present on the surface of bunkers now. This adds some nice variety to the missions, as some or all of your enemies may be topside. Although this seems to only be a thing on the surface of Microtech. I checked on Hurston and also moon bunkers, but even in 324.2, there were no surface AI anywhere else but Microtech. This next one should have been obvious, but the thought never crossed my mind. It is no longer possible to run drugs as a commodity from labs like Jumptown, because there are no freight elevators there. The closest thing you can do is steal the 1/8 drug boxes from mercenary contracts. Salvage panels received a huge nerf in the previous patch. They won't give out as much RMC anymore. Also, these were bugged for me and I was never able to visibly see them anyway. Racing missions in the PU now have open track options, with no buy-in and no payout. It also doesn't seem to increase your racing rep either. I'm not too sure exactly how long ago this was implemented, but it's a welcome addition for sure. So it's now October, and CitizenCon is just around the corner. During this show, we are expected to see Squadron 42 gameplay, more 4.0 info, and possibly even another star system or two. We'll just have to wait and see what we get. And that'll do it for this episode of Shadow Patch Notes. So were any of these changes news to you? What do you think of the new MFDs? Leave a comment down below and let me know. And if you're interested in the Saber Firebird game package giveaway, just be a subscriber here on YouTube and head on over to my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/the5star, where you can find the link to enter. Come on by and say hi. Alright everybody, I'll catch you on the flip flop. Peace out.